because it has been 6 years since he came to this world and he has finally leveled up. He decides to let his family in on his little secret too, and takes the Albaherones home. Rodden is shocked to see that Alan defeated 2 of them this time, but he doesn't say anything. Immediately after that, Alan goes to his sword training with Krina, and he is a lot faster now. He can dodge her attacks consistently, but he is busy thinking about how he has enough meat to last the winters and all he needs now is firewood. He thinks that if he hunts 20 more Albaherones, he can reach level 3, but that seems impossible to do this winter. He gets so distracted by his thoughts that Krina sneaks behind him and lands a hit on his head, keeping her winning streak alive. Later that night, Alan talks to his parents, telling them to tighten their seatbelts because his story might take them on an emotional roller coaster. He says that when he was 1 year old, he had an oracle from God Elmia, who told him that he would grant him power and wisdom. He tells his parents this is why he is stronger and smarter than the average people, but the God of creation also gave him a great handicap, saying that he would face challenges that 100 people could not overcome together, and he had to use his strength and wisdom to overcome them. Derja is shocked to hear this and starts asking God how could he give her child such a harsh ordeal. Rodden, on the other hand, remarks that Alan must have passed a trial today because the wound on his face has healed. Alan realizes it only then and Rodden tells him that he knows what it is like to overcome the trials of God. Suddenly, Derja asks why did Alan not have any talent at the appraisal ceremony then, and he explains that he got another oracle from Elmia about that. Rodden scolds him and tells him to take the god's name with proper respect and Alan apologizes before continuing. He says that his job class was too new to be displayed in the appraisal ceremony, and his stats were low because the normal method depends on his growth rate, which is slowed down because of his handicap. His parents are curious about his talent now, but Alan can't tell them about being a summoner since people might start fearing that he can control dangerous monsters. He says that he doesn't know what his talent is, and he also hides the fact that he has reincarnated her from another world. Dercia suddenly hugs Alan, asking why did he not tell them earlier because she thought he was a psycho when he threw rocks at the tree each day. But he was just practicing to overcome the trials of gods. Rodden asks him what he wants to do next, and Alan tells him that he plans to face the trials head-on. Rodden thinks that is a good idea, and tells him to be brave and face the challenges God Elmia has prepared for him, and if he is stuck somewhere, he can always ask them for help. He also tells Alan to keep it a secret because things might get tricky if he is accused of lying about an oracle. However, Rodden wants to tell Gerda and boast about his son got an oracle from the creator god himself. And that certainly beats Krina being a sword lord. Soon after that, Alan has hunted a buttload of Albaherone, and he takes them to the market along with Gerda, who plans to teach him everything about doing business. Gerda tells him that their boar hunt was successful too, because without commoners, they had no problems. Alan asks him about the difference between serfs and commoners, and Gerda tells him that their social status is different, and the commoners don't pay the 60% tax like serfs. Instead, they pay 3 gold coins per adult and 1 gold coin per child as their annual tax. Alan is intrigued and moves on to his main question about how serfs can become commoners. Gerda replies that they have to pay a tribute of 10 gold coins per person in their family, or the Lord can personally reward them with a promotion. Alan realizes that since his mom is constantly popping out kids, he needs to earn 50 gold coins quickly or it will become 60 the next year. Soon, they go to a trading company and get salt in exchange of the dried monster meat. After that, Gerda takes Alan to different kinds of stores and he learns the exchange rate for different items. The next time, Alan goes to the market alone and begins doing research about how much the items would cost if he bought them with money. After a little bit of research, he finds that 1 packet of Albaherone jerky sells for 1 silver coin, and if he wants to earn 50 gold coins, he needs to hunt 500 of them. He decides not to think about the grinding he will have to do for that, and goes to a medical store and asks for mana recovery potions. The shopkeeper replies that they don't keep such fancy stuff in their cheap stores, and Alan decides to look at other medicinal herbs and draw their sketches in his grimoire instead. He then asks the shopkeeper if he has Mueller's flowers, and 1 coin man gets defensive on hearing that name because the last time he sold them was to Gerda, who stormed into his store and begged him to sell it to him. The shopkeeper says that Gerda was really persistent despite having only half the money to buy it, and he promised to pay the rest later. He literally got on his knees and begged that he needed the flowers to save his friend, and the shopkeeper had to give in. He is still frustrated about that even though Gerda paid him later, and Alan suddenly gives him a pack of meat as his thanks because the Miller's flowers saved Rodden's life. After that, Alan goes to a blacksmith shop and stares at the weapons that cost 50 silver coins each, so he decides not to dream of them for now. Suddenly, the axe user Dogora comes there and asks Alan what the hell is he doing at his father's shop. Alan doesn't want to bother with the rude brat, so he tells him that he was just looking and walks off. However, Dogora punches him for no reason and tells him to become his minion just like Pal, the chief's son. Alan decides to fight back to keep Dogora in check from the beginning. He puts his luggage on ground and points his wooden sword at Dogora, asking him to get whatever weapon he wants so that they can fight fair and square. Dogora runs to get his baseball bat while Alan and Pal greet each other. And as soon as he returns, he starts swinging his wooden bat. Alan easily dodges and blocks his attacks, and he can tell that Dogora has the attack power of an axe user, but he is nothing special compared to Krina. Alan rushes towards him and disarms him with a swift strike, and Dogora falls on the ground after being defeated. Alan uses this chance to aura farm like a slick samurai and tells him that he will be back to trade at his shop someday. Soon after that, Rodden starts feeling better and gets ready to work again. A few months pass, and Dogora becomes a regular visitor to Krina's house that has become a training ground for all the kids. Pal is there too and Mash practices with Krina, who is taking it super easy on him. Alan realizes that his brother might have the skills to become a spear user, and while he is distracted, Dogora decides to land a hit on him. However, his movements are still too crude and Alan only dodges him to make him fall on the ground. One night after that, as Alan is watching his baby sister fall asleep, Rodden and Gerda come home, and they look really worn out. Dercia asks them what happened, and they tell her that the Baron has ordered them to hunt 15 wild boars this year instead of 10, and that is why they have let commoners join them again. Dercia asks who the hell thought that is a good idea after Rodden got injured, but they can't refuse it because it is an order from the Baron. What is worse, they have to hunt 20 boars the next year. And if they can't do that, the Lord is ready to bring in more serfs from other places, which is bad news for the village because serfs who can't hunt will have their land taken away from them. Rodden says their only option is to go on hunts more often because they can't trust the commoners, even though this method is also risky. Suddenly, Alan says that even if they go on hunts more frequently and meet the quota, it will keep on increasing until they have to bring serfs from other places or let the commoners join. He says that letting the commoners join them is a good idea, and even though Gerda tells him to be silent when adults are talking, Rodden asks him what he is suggesting. Alan says that he was blessed with wisdom by the gods, which basically means his experience from playing countless games. He is confident that he can turn even the most useless noobs into strong players and asks Rodden and Gerda to leave the commoners to him. The next day, Alan goes to the village gate where all other serfs are gathered dressed like ostriches. They are eager to have Rodden back on the team, as well as about his son joining them. Rodden tells them that they are going to adopt the hunting strategy that Alan came up with. But he is not old enough to actually join hunting, so he will be watching them from the sideline. While Alan politely greets the hunters and accepts his role as an observer, he really wishes to join the team and get some experience points by defeating the great boars. However, he could not convince Rodden to let him join the hunt, and in the end, he could barely manage to come along. Alan thinks that joining the hunt is not the most important thing right now, and his focus should be on training the commoners properly so that no one is injured like his dad. Just then, the commoner who was the cause of Rodden's injury last year comes there and apologizes once again. He asks Rodden not to cover for his pathetic ass if he fumbles this time, but Rodden asks him to focus on doing his job and trust the team with the rest. With that, Gerda leads the entire group outside the village, and Alan takes a moment to witness the scenery around him because this is his first time leaving the village. He thinks that it is just the beginning, and he will soon spend a lot of time here to level up. Alan quickly notices the White Dragon Mountain in the distance, which is the home of the great boars that come down from the mountain once the weather starts to get cold. He has also heard stories that a legendary white dragon lives on the summit of the mountain, but he doesn't know how true that is. However, as he was busy doing this entire internal monologue, the hunting group has left far ahead and they ask Alan if he is chickening out now. He immediately runs to catch up with them, and soon, the entire group reaches their destination. Rodden tells everyone to take their positions just as they have planned earlier. Soon, two of the serfs attract a great boar towards them, and they alert everyone who is hiding nearby to get ready. Alan is terrified on seeing the giant monster. but the serfs are ready to face it head-on. They stand their guard and on Gerda's command, stab the boar's mouth with their spears, causing it to stop charging because of the pain. That is the cue for Rodden and the rest of the team to attack the boar from the sides, letting fountains of blood erupt from its body. Alan watches everything from the sidelines and realizes that the strategy his dad and other serfs used to fight the boars is quite raw, and they couldn't trust the commoners to play a role in it. He plans to do things differently, and as he realizes that the boar is near its death, he tells the commoners to rush ahead and attack it. The commoners follow his command and join the serfs because they only need to land one hit to get their share of experience and level up. The serfs are still not confident about letting the wimps hold spears, but luckily, nothing goes wrong and the commoners stab the boar once before it falls. The